Hey, Nimbula. Vinaka Vakalevu for joining in tonight. Noaye Maori, to all our Rotuman families and friends all over the world that are watching this live Talanoa today. I have a very special guest joining me from the beautiful island of Oahu in the 50th state of the United States, which is Hawaii. Aloha to you all. Vinakavakalevu for joining me and JJ today, John Taukave, for this wonderful Talanoa, which will be the closing Talanoa for the Rotuma Language Week 2024. Vinakavakalevu Sara for everyone that has been joining my Talanoa sessions this week. We had Fisaitu Solomone joined us on Monday, and then followed by Ellen Inoke from Hamilton in New Zealand. So both of them from New Zealand. And then Letila Mitchell on Thursday. And we also had
Dorel Ben
from Brisbane. Yes. And then now we end with John Taukave. Nakavakalevu for all the inquiries, for all the hellos and all the greetings that has been sent through to me. I really acknowledge it. So Nakavakalevu. So as usual, we have our Rotuma song to welcome everybody. And the good news about this song, which I just found out now, that the very person sitting right here next to me, right here across on the screen, sang in this group. So his voice is actually a part of this beautiful song, which is one of my favorite songs. So I hope you all been enjoying this song this week. And of course, right now, because one of the singers is here, is John Taukave. Vinakavakalevu, and welcome to this Talanoa session.
Raota uma arotuma, raota uma arotuma, nefu ewo, ne Pacifica. Hoki a whenga mau, hoki a whenga ne o I ea whate I la mane a e te, hente I la mane a mase. Tra la 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 la, tra la 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 la, tra la 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 la, tra la 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 la. My own action. Oh Batis opola mane ahaharangi hoi hoi silian oki a fenga ma oki a fenga de o I ea fate ela mane a ete gente ela mane a mase tra la 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 mayon la elia no fuge palanasta onia kia ase afna kuya helava palaneasta chuchu peche mamotusa oi na fama marha itumuta solo ganeasta hasta la sol kikia celosa solo makia hace sol roa kuya helava solo ganeasta cha la 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 mayon la elia ei inya leyanda kayo mawawa ne se tala yola pola yola anya ya abat nego mama sema mayone ofin semo marosio popo iano la taya eo popo iano la taya eo noa ia es que bene isi malo bene isi ma omistela la otomis pu Raota uma arotuma nefu ewo ne pacifica.
Sa rorong pinakadiri na serenggo, pinakapakalevu. So happy to know that John, you also was part of that band. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you participated in that song, JJ?
So, Isa, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Teresi, for having me in your Talanoa. And as the last Talanoa celebrating Language Week, it's a blessing to share Talanoa space with you, activating Vava. I also want to thank the Almighty God for bringing me to this stage of my life. He's given me the spiritual upbringing and all the prayers and the support that He's given for my spiritual self has been a big part. And also the families, all my families who are in Fiji, in Rotuma, and also here in Hawaii. Finally, I also wanted to, before I, go into the
Sure.
I wanted to acknowledge the lands that I stand on. From my end, the indigenous lands of the Kanaka Maoli people, and I acknowledge where I stand here is on the lands of these indigenous people, and I acknowledge that. So, coming to your question, Doctor, I think this was over 10 years ago. This song was made, and at my brother, Skills, myself, Emma, Howard, Paul Dominico, Letila Mitchell. At that time, we wanted to put, music that people could relate with. And so this song called Avmanea in Rotuman means a time of celebration. And usually it's during the Farah season. I know you're very familiar with the Farah. So Farah, in Rotuma and in Fiji, towards the festive season, December to January, the communities always go to other communities and villages and sing and dance at many houses. And so we wanted to take that same celebration and put it into this song. So the song you hear, Tarisi, is a medley of the Faro songs. And it's songs that a lot of Rotumans can relate to because it reminds them of a time of celebration. Even on the island during the Faro season, a lot of the planters, they put their planting tools down, and it's a time for celebrating with the family. So every day they celebrate the harvest of their hard work throughout the year. And so, this song is a celebration of those moments with family, with community. And it really resonated a lot with Rotuman communities because it helped them remind them of those times where people would celebrate together, dance, and sing all of these medleys of Faro songs that we compiled into one. And it was a beautiful, beautiful song. And even till today, I still vibe with this song. It's a vibe tunga,
Just the medley, how it's like strung together and just the beat. It's so awesome.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So, it was all of us. We all went into studio together. We structured these medleys of Faro songs together, and we all enjoyed that whole process. It was a fun process, but it was also a learning process for us to celebrate together.
Sandiana Saranga.
And
Wow.
that's sort of like the space that Rako Pacific created for us, as artists at the time to provide a space so we could create freely. And this is one of the beautiful outcomes of those spaces in Rako that they provided. So you can see the fruits of that labor. Even till today, it's still going.
That's why I'm always, acknowledging, the vision of Letila, to have that space. And now what she mentioned to me on Thursday, that there's a cohort of groups that come in and then they move on and then another group come in. And now you see a pipeline of young people coming in to help out, and also the older ones too, to talk.
Yep, absolutely. And it's also a way for us to mentor the next generation, sort of like the way Letila is paved that way for my generation, and now we're paving it for the next generation. And it's just a continuous cycle of learning and inspiring each other.
So let's go back to the island of Rotuma. If you can just tell us a little bit about yourself as to which part of Rotuma you are from, and also maybe where you were raised before you came over to Hawaii, and which schools you went to as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So my name is John Brandon Taukave. My father and my mother, my father is Samuela Mue Taukave, and my mother is Violet Penelope Taukave. My father comes from the village of Mutusa in our Fongri of Afyong Oitu, and my mother comes from the district of Malha. So father is Mutusa village, district Itutiu, and the foundation, our home foundation is Fongri is Afyong Oitu. In my mom's side, the district is Malha'a, the village is Pepoua, and our Fongri, our home foundation is Solmena. And so that's where my parents are from. For myself, I was born and raised in Suva in Fiji, Suva, Vatuanga, Vatuanga, Burning Stone for all my families and cousins there in 34 Vusa Vusa, Vatuanga. Shout out to all you people over there. Love you guys. And I was born and raised in very humble beginnings in Vatuanga, Vusa Vusa Road. We're living in the blocks. We live in the blocks, and sort of like that was sort of where we stayed. I went to my primary school was in Holy Trinity, and then I went to high school in Marist, Coca-Cola champions again. Sorry to all the grammarians there, I love you, but Marisi MOB, OB over here. And then I did my bachelor's at the University of the South Pacific, a double major in history and politics with a minor in French. And then I did a postgraduate diploma in diplomacy and international affairs at USP, and then I just graduated last week with my master's in a master's portfolio in Pacific Island Studies from the University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Woohoo! Taukave, man. Congratulations, man. Your journey is amazing, as you said, from a very humble beginning and to where you are now. And
Amen.
I'm sure your parents are very proud of you, JJ.
Thank you. Yes, I have my mom and my brother here with me to celebrate. They came last week for my celebration. Letila also came in, so we celebrated together, and it's been an amazing moment because it's the first time in about 3 years since my mom and my brother and myself were together. It's usually my brother and my mother, or me and my mother, or me and my brother, but never the three of us together. So this is the first time in 3 years. So it's a very special moment for me.
Sa totoo kasarang I think I must have seen a video of when mom arrived. So that was really beautiful. Vinakavakalevo for, looking out for, and I'm sure she must be so proud during your graduation.
Indeed, she was. Naka, yeah, it was touching moment for me. And mom will always say like, "Oh, now me and my mom got the masters in the family."
And I also have to acknowledge for the listeners, I've just been told as well through the Coconut Wireless that John or JJ is the first Rotuman to graduate from the University of Hawaii. Wow. Again, that's another feather on the cap there for you, JJ. How did you feel when you were told that you were the first Rotuman?
It was it's a special moment because the journey has been a very enriching experience here in the 2 years that I've been here doing my masters. So being in a space like Hawaii where your identity means a lot, where you come from, your background, and so when I came here, it was very important for me to hold on to my Rotuman identity and to be proud of who I was, and to share that identity with everyone that I met. So I remember when the first time I came to Happy Manoa at UH, at the Easter Center, nobody knew where Rotuma was, except for my Fijian friends, the students here. Shout out to Mila, Taitusi, Mac, Malia, all of my Pacific friends at Happy Manoa, Lai, Joeli, Uncle Pira, Skills. So and that it was sort of like my opportunity to bring Rotuma and let it be known, to put Rotuma on the map. I remember during one of my defenses, Billy said, he shared that, it took a long time for Rotuma to be put on the map, even on a geographical map at the university. It took some time. And so putting Rotuma on the map just to show that, our beautiful home in Fiji is a multi-ethnical and diverse place with many stories to tell. Even these concepts of Micronesia, Polynesia, Melanesia, we're all one Oceania with unique stories. Even though we're all connected by the oceans, we all have our own stories to tell and to share with the world. And, and as I got into my research, knowing that, there's maybe less than 20,000 Rotumans worldwide, and not a lot of us speak the language. And looking at the revitalization of the Rotuman culture and languages in Fiji, in New Zealand, in Australia, at California, and a little bit in Europe, it motivated me to connect more with the Rotuman community over here and to learn more and to share these stories with people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, Dina Sarangay. And so it's wonderful to know that there are Rotumans too on Oahu, and you
Yes,
are
they are.
connecting in from a home in Punchbowl.
Yes.
Sa Vinaka And also you mentioned that Professor Wilson Hernico was a member of your research committee.
Mhm.
So tell us about having Wilson as part of your committee, JJ.
I mean, when I first came and I found out that Wilsoni was a professor in the cinematic arts department, it was sort of like a no-brainer for him to be on my committee because one, my work was on reconnection to Rotuman identity, and as an artist and an upcoming Pacific scholar, I felt that Wilson Heroniko was a was no-brainer for him. He had to be on my committee, and he's the only Rotuman professor at UH Manoa. So he was sort of like my mentor in terms of like culture, how to tell stories, his experiences as an artist and a scholar, going through his his plethora of works, and in helping me, inspire me to help me with my academic writing was a very important experience for me, and that's something I'll cherish forever. And I'm still navigating my relationship with Dr. Wilson. It's hard to call me Dr. Wilson because he's also my uncle, and I'm also very proud that he's my uncle. So I have family here too. To my small island, we're all connected. We're all related too. So he's sort of like my cultural mentor here when I was here with my work.
Wow, shout out to all the people from Matusa and Malhaha. We're for putting Rotuma on the map, as you said, with Dr. Professor Wilson, yeah, having the issue with that physical map. I remember that story, in which we saw the map at the Center for Pacific Studies, and
Yes.
Rotuma was not there.
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But then for 33 years, he worked hard to put that on the map and, paving the way for, young Rotuman Pacific scholars like me to come and learn from him and, for me to pave the way for the next generation. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's the same with Rako. We're nurturing artists from the ground up and paving the way for the next generation of future ancestors and future leaders in the arts or in Pacific studies or in academia, wherever that may be.
Now, I'm very curious about the topic that you chose for your MA. I'm sure you must have had so many topics you want to choose because your background, you've got history, politics, international relations, and even French added in the mix. And wow. And why did you decide to choose a particular topic?
So first, I joined Rako around maybe 15 years ago, and my research is sort of like my recollection of my journey through Rako. And so when I first joined Rako, what were my experiences? So the title was, I'm using this concept of story living. So story living meaning I'm re-owning this concept from, Disney uses this concept of story living as building suburban communities in California. And so I'm trying to take this term of story living, re-own it, and use it as a way of how we Pacific Islanders and Rotumans live our stories through performance, the mediums of performance. And so story living for us in that way was always how we passed on our knowledge, was always through a mode of performance, whether it was through oratory or through dance or through chanting. And that's a powerful thing. And I wanted to provide a Rotuman lens on how we Rotumans lived our stories through performance. And so my journey was, going with Rako to Rotuma and being in that space that Rako created and enabling me to reconnect to my Rotuman identity, because I wasn't born and raised in Rotuma, but growing up in my journey with Rako, I had that urge to sort of like reconnect later onwards. And so when I reconnected back to Rotuma, I was very privileged to be with Rako in connecting with community elders like Ngach Manav, the Council of Chiefs, storytellers like Nakaora. It was listening to their stories and taking those stories and creating works of art, performance around these stories it was a huge mind opener for me in saying that, this could be something very important for Rotuman to take this knowledge and weave it with academia. take this artistic knowledge and weave it with, and so weaving it like an apé or the maps in a university space. And so I specifically look at this endemic species of bird called armia. And so I first got this inspiration of armia when I first joined Litila. We used to talk about the birds, the endemic birds in Rotuma, and especially the armia, which is a red and black bird, very small bird. And so when I started to hear more about this bird, I wanted to say, hey, what's the symbol of this bird? And so I started to listen to the stories, go back to the books. And I found out that a little bird like the armia had a huge influence on our stories. And so I took the bird as the symbol of my reconnection and listened to the stories around this endemic species of bird. And I weaved it into academic scholarship, into my master's portfolio. So my portfolio, I had both a cover essay, I had a cultural defense, which was a tiny desk concept, a story living, sharing moments. I had a reflective essay, and I also had a story living booklet, which documented, I think, 10 pieces that surrounded the armia. And I performed that piece, and then I wove the research part of this bird into my work, and sort of like that became my research. So the bird and the stories around the bird, creating spaces, creating works of art through the stories of this bird, and weaving it with academic scholarship. So the anthropology of the armia, the science of the armia, the linguistic part of the armia, the color notions, the color studies of the armia, like black and red. Shout out to Dr. Apollonia Tabata for her help in that part. She was a big part. And the theatrical part of the armia bird, and the cultural part, the historical part, and weaving all of these disciplines, which is what Pacific Studies is all about. Weaving all of these disciplines into this beautiful piece of work, both in writing, academic writing, and in performance. So I had both academic thesis and a performance element to my research. And yeah, that was my whole master's thesis.
That is so creative and also motivating. And I'm sure there's lots of young people listening in tonight. They may be thinking of, doing their master's degree, and your story tonight may inspire, someone that is listening. Now, I was also thinking, was there other universities you had to choose from, and how did the VAA or the Wanga from Rotuma end up in Hawaii?
So yes, I applied to numerous universities for my master's. And so I sort of I wanted to uh, move on from USP in the sense of getting a broader, broader view of the whole region. So I applied to Auckland. I applied to Europe as well, and Scotland, and I applied to a few universities on the continental US and UH Hawaii. And so it was very interesting because the minute I applied to the East West Center in UH, a few days later, they emailed me straight away saying, you'd be a perfect fit for Pacific Island Studies. You're both an artist and you're an emerging scholar, so you'd be a great fit. And I think that sort of constant reply saying they needed me and it would be a great space, and the communication went back and forth. I felt like it was a no-brainer. So Hawaii would be the place, and I've never regretted that decision ever since. I mean, I've met so many wonderful people here in Hawaii, and I've nurtured so many relationships, both with communities here in Hawaii, like with the Hawaiian local communities. Shout out to Haileo Baker and Kaliko Baker for showing me to their communities. I've engaged with the Fijian communities here. Shout out to Lai and Isi, Tueli at the base. Wait. And my friends at Pacific Island Studies, forming a Pacific group and just helping me be more proud of where I came from as a Rotuman, but to also be proud of the Pacific region. as a whole within the space like Hawaii.
Wow, so I can see why Eastwest Center did that. Yeah, they can see the perfect fit, eh? Alakobata Saranga, the Center for Pacific Studies, and then the Eastwest Center vision and
Mhm,
mission. So
mhm.
wow, well done, well done. So if
Nakage.
they, for example, if there's a young person, JJ, listening in tonight,
Mm.
uh, maybe this might be the answer to their prayers. What would you say to them? As a word of encouragement as far as master's studies or MA studies is concerned.
Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful question. Last week during the Pacific graduation, I was the keynote speaker for the graduate students. And I remember a key piece of advice, not only for my speech, but also throughout my research was, there's this Rotuman proverb, how us Pacific communities, we are brought up with these communal values, and they're very important for us, growing up and going through the world and being grounded in those values wherever we go, humbling ourselves. So one was, I remember my aunties used to tell me, my cousins used to tell me as well, and I've sort of like held on to that. Even my elders, there's this Rotuman proverb, and I think it's a powerful proverb, and I think it resonated a lot for me, which was, "Pupu or pupu." You can say that with me, Tarisi. Hat seppuku,
Hat 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 se
seppuku,
hat seppuku
ka seppupu,
ka he se pupu.
pupu,
Ah,
pupu,
pupu.
which means pupu, yeah, which literally means read the books, pull the weeds. And so me coming to this space here, I could read all the books, I could get all the degrees, I could get all the titles, but none of those titles would mean anything without my community support, without my family, my community support, engaging with my community, uh, being with them. And I got this proverb because at one stage during COVID, when I went to Rotuman on one of my reconnection journeys with Rako, I went with my sister, Emma Rupeni, and sort of like we were supposed to go for 1 week to just be with the elders, with Nganat Stamanavi, Maftoa, Itubuta. And when we went for that 1 week, Vitilevu closed down. All the cases all came up, so Vitilevu closed down. So 1 week became around 7 weeks. And so as much of adversity it was for me, it was very much more a blessing because I got to spend most of the time with elders, with Nganat Tamanab especially. I went to the plantations with him in Itumuta. I went fishing with him. I danced with him. I cried with him. I just sat down. There were times where Uncle would just be, would just be sitting on the on the chair and looking up to the sea in the bay in Makabe, and he would just be like humming songs or humming tunes, and I would just be watching him, and then I would have these creative sessions where he would teach me Rotuman chants. He would write chants for me, and I would learn this. And this was important because that was sort of like the foundation of the creativity. And so I took those story living moments, and now I come to a space like in Hawaii, and I apply those living moments within intimate spaces where people listen to the art that you perform. But not only that, I also wanted to give a shout out to my colleagues at the Micronesian Center for Sustainable Transport, Maria, Eileen, John Taukave, Pete Natal, all of them being in that space in maritime. I had never thought I'd be in maritime, but I got to story live my stories at the International Maritime Organization in London, where the chant that Nganat Stamana wrote for me, I got to live that story of the chant within the UN at this IMO delegate, at this IMO headquarters, as a voice to amplify the voices in the Pacific, of the Pacific delegations present in London, and sort of like bring the humanity back to a space where it can be so technical, and sort of like bringing our Pacific way into that space. So I've been blessed to share my stories of where I come from, in Rotuma, in Vatwanga, all of these experiences, and perform those stories about Rotuma on an international platform like at the IMO in London, and sort of like amplifying the voice for, decarbonization in maritime shipping by 2050, amplifying that voice, a just and equitable transition, leaving no states behind. And I'm constantly learning in that space, and it makes me even more proud and even more humbled. I show you one story because how very humbling your work can be inspiring, but it can also humble you, because I remember I was at the IMO and I was on the BBC News, and it was a big moment for me. And I went and I showed all my cousins and my family, hey guys, I chanted at the IMO. It's such an amazing time for me. And then I showed it to my mom, the video to my mom, and my mom, like, she looked at the video and said, oh, that's so nice. Why didn't you iron your shirt? Or why did you shave? Make sure you shave properly. So it was a humbling moment, but it was good to be humble, to like bring us ground ourselves, even though you can be high. Like again, read the books, pull the weeds. So I'm gonna try and read more books and try and pull more weeds.
Wow, totoo kasarap nga. Pinako for sharing that proverb. You've just reminded me, like this week we've been, celebrating the Rotuman Language Week, and connecting
Yep.
to the language are the proverbs, our chants, our songs. So that is a wonderful experience or example that you've just shared. That very powerful proverb that has grounded you throughout this journey.
And throughout this whole week of Rotuma Day celebrations, it was so inspiring to, being here in Hawaii, and, Fiji's, far away, but, looking at the videos and looking at my cousins from Batuanga and in Rotuma coming to perform at Rotuma Day celebrations, all of the districts performing, all of the agriculture show, and, all the root crops and all. It was so good. And just hearing those songs sort of like helps me, takes me to a utopia to reconnect back and continue reconnecting back. But not for me, but for other, diasporic Rotumans, wherever they may be, It may not be music or dance, maybe it can be food. You find that point of connection that can enable you to start to learn, start to create, or start to just be more Rotuman, in a world that, can be very harsh on you.
Yeah, Nasaranga. So speaking of the Rotuman Language Week, JJ, like what, when did you hear about this particular week? And how do you feel about it? You've explained, how you seen the activity all over the world, even back home in Fiji. What would be your vision like about seeing what the Rotuman Language Week will be like, in the future for you?
For me, I see that it's going to be bigger and better, because I see the interest, I see the revival in Rotumans, especially in the diaspora, that urge to learn or to reconnect more. And it's very inspiring for me, and it helps me try and do better, as a Rotuman in wherever I may be, and this week, and Rotuma Language Week, Rotuma Day is important. And like for us in Hawaii, like my brother and I and Iene, Meva are here from Rako, and Skills FJ, we are here in Hawaii. And so our way of how we celebrated Rotuma Language Week was, we went to Hakipu'u Learning Academy, we went to Roosevelt High School, and we taught Rotuman chants and Rotuman dances. We did creative writing workshops, and we used those songs and we taught the kids. And sort of like now people are learning more about Rotuma. And so that was sort of like our way of celebrating and continuing this, this urge to be more proud as a Rotuman in this space. And so that's how we celebrate it. We're teaching high school, primary school, kids from all their diverse backgrounds here. And it's so inspiring to hear them chant in Rotuman. And so for us, when they chant in Rotuman, they're dancing Rotuman and they're having fun, me, my brother Ian, it makes us even more proud to do Rotumans, putting Rotuma on the map, putting us, making us more visible. And that's something I'm very thankful for and humbled by.
That's nice. To both of you, to you and Skills, it's lovely to see, two brothers, doing what they love, what you are both good at, and great ambassadors of Rotuma. I was very happy, when you both came over to Hilo. That was one event I will never forget. Things just kind of all connected, and as we were talking about before we came on live, sometimes we work with, our guts, in whatever we do,
You know
especially,
it.
yeah, in the creative arts. And so, how things just worked out that day was just amazing. So, we Nakabakalevu for blessing us, especially through your music and songs. So, what I was wanting to ask too with both of you, as brothers, and you also have other siblings, are you all musically talented? And how did this start? What happened in Vatuanga?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Tarisi. I think, growing up in Batuanga, we were always surrounded with music. So my dad was a choir master in Churchwood Chapel. He was, and at that time in the early 2000s, there used to be the church competitions in Turak, the choir competitions. And so my dad was so passionate about, writing music in the church. He was conducting. He would go all out with that energy that he had. And I remember me and my brother, we were young. We were laughing at him all the time. But little did we know that that same passion he carried with him. God rest his soul. He would pass that on to me and my brother. And every time we come to spaces like this, or even when I see my brother perform, I see my dad. Even during my Pacific grad, when he came and he offered me my, the stash and the certificate, I saw my dad. So dad was a choir master, and mom was a strong alto in the choir. And so every Sunday, I remember like 4 or 5 in the morning, waking up, going to choir practice, and my brother sleeping at the back while the choir singing. But we were always surrounded constantly around music. And so that same passion that both my mom and my dad had carried on to us. And so sort of like my brother became the pure artist. So everything around art, he is the combination of that. So he brings the energy, he brings the presence. And so I'm sort of like, I love the arts and I'm an artist, but I also try and weave my scholarship, my academic scholarship within that. So a bit of both worlds, weaving both worlds together. And so I felt that that's sort of like our life's trajectories that brought us to where we are today. Inspiration from our parents and from our communities as well, because we were all singing in the choir when we were young.
Wow. When you were just talking about, your dad, doing what he loved, and you were both young, even just, sleeping or lying down, your ears were open, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
you were observing what dad was doing.
Our senses were activated, but we just didn't realize that at that time.
Wow, it's I can see that it's like a beautiful gift, yeah, that has been passed on, and wow, that is the
And to
beautiful.
share it as well. We have to share it.
Dear Natodok and Mom Isa, I'm just I've been watching her, looking at the pictures. It's just so beautiful, For me as a parent, I
Mhm.
would feel the same way when my children graduate, and I haven't, I've seen them graduate from high school, but
Mhm.
tertiary is coming around the corner. But
Yep.
yeah, it's a huge, huge achievement. Now, one thing I want to say, JJ, a lot of times young people like you often say, oh, we don't need the degree. We don't need this piece of paper. We just finish high school, nga, job.
Mm.
Um, what would you like to say to those who are maybe sitting in that group in terms of the importance of education,
Yep.
JJ?
I mean, education starts from home, and you start, you begin to be taught at home, and when you go through primary school, high school, university level, I feel education plays a big part in the nurturing of yourself, not only as a scholar, as a if you want to be a scholar or if you want to be an artist, I feel education helps you more understand the world around you and how you can place yourself in that world and how you can find your way. And I feel in my experiences at USP and UH Hawaii, UH Manoa, I felt that um, education has given me a lot of opportunities to amplify my voice, not only in Fiji, Rotuma, the region, but also to the rest of the world, so they can understand who we are as a peoples, who we are as and how we navigate ourselves in the world. Because us community and collective is a big thing, and having that education makes you understand it more and provides more opportunities, not to sustain yourself, but also to understand more about the world around you and where you can fit in and where you can, see yourself in different spaces. And I found that here because being in the university, being in the academic space, enabled to amplify my art. So, singing to classes, teaching, uh, and chanting at delegations to delegation international delegations at the IMO has opened my eyes to what education can provide. And I want to let emerging people, emerging Pacific scholars and artists coming up around is that education can help you understand the world around you and can also sustain but you have to pull the weeds. You have to read the books. You have to say your prayers. You have to, we can falter sometimes. Sometimes we're young, we're gonna go get drunk, we'll get dope from the cover or whatever. But we all have to make sure that if we do our best, we be true to ourselves, and God will show the rest of the way.
Man, to talk about Kawati. Yeah, it's just lovely to see, eh? Because
Oh.
so I have to edit a little bit of Fijian in there to
Don't know.
acknowledge your Batuanga roots, eh?
Yes. Burning stone. Musa, Musa.
Wow. And the other thing too that I'm very curious about, when you studied at USP, you
Mm.
chose French as your minor. Why did you choose that beautiful language?
J'ai choisi la langue française parce que ça m'intéresse beaucoup. Mais tu vois, no, so I chose the French language because it was something different. It was something unique, and I got that opportunity in Marist. So I took French in Marist from Form 3 to Form 7, and I took my first 2 years of my bachelor's in French as well. And then after I took all those years, I spent 2 years in New Caledonia as a French teacher in a high school in Pombut. Shout out to all my Lycée de Pombut students in the region. So it enabled me to master the language of French, and then ever since then, I've applied that same knowledge in French within UH Manoa. When I go to diplomatic meetings or in those spaces, I get to connect with French-speaking countries, not even Tahiti, Wallis and Futuna, New Cal, Côte d'Ivoire, the French-speaking countries in the Caribbean. So it enabled me to connect more and to explain more about, who we are as a Pacific through the language of French. So that was a big plus on my end. I took it first because I remember in Form 3, our French teacher was a beautiful woman. So I took it. But then, learning more and getting more into the French language, it really helped. And then I also have a French partner, which, it helps me continue practicing my French.
Sabi nakabakalebre there, eh? So the beauty of language, eh? How it
Yes,
opens up this huge world out there for you. Totoka
yes,
saranda.
absolutely.
One now. And also there's
Merci
something.
beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. There's something I noticed too on your Facebook page, when I see you, traveling to different parts of the world, and what a blessing, that has been for you. Um, So you reckon that through this education that we just talked about earlier,
Yep.
all
Yep.
these doors open up for you as a result?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I can 100% vouch for that.
Wow. Can
But
you list a
that's
few of the
just
countries you went to?
so I went to countries, went to London, went to South Korea, been to Tonga a few times, the States multiple times. Uh that's just some on the top of my head.
To go to the Marshall Islands?
The Marshall Islands as well. I spent, yeah. So I worked with the Micronesian Center for Sustainable Transport, and we went to Marshall Islands to sort of like present the work that we're doing at the IMO to the Marshall Islands cabinet. And so letting them know and outreaching to the grassroots communities to show them that our Pacific delegations are doing work at the IMO and to share with them, keep them informed.
I can see a diplomatic role coming up for you.
Thank you, Naka.
Whoever is listening to this conversation, please, Masa Solibi on a diplomatic role. This is amazing.
Isa, vinaka tarisi.
Iya, totoo ka and I think one thing I really admire about you, JJ, is your ability to bring your culture with you to your classroom, and
Absolutely.
that's something that I've been preaching to my own students. When I was teaching in Hawaii, I was always encouraging them, don't leave your Hawaiian hat at the gate. Don't leave your yapis or Pohnpeian, or
Yep.
Palawan. Bring those with you. Bring it with you. Wherever if you're learning engineering, if you're learning maths, if you're learning accounting,
Absolutely.
or go touch bring it, because it's
Yes.
gonna add into your learning, and never look down on that background. What would you like to say about that?
Oh, I remember one of my first classes was PAC 602 with Dr. Tarcisius Kabutaulaka in relearning Oceania. And so, activating the learning spaces as Pacific Islanders. I remember one of our seminars, we had like a 3 or 4 hour seminar. We came into class at UH, we pushed all the seats and the desks to the side. I brought my mat, I brought my guitar, I brought my ukulele, and we brought all our readings together, and we sat on the mat and we talanoa about the readings. And then in our breaks, we jammed a bit, we brought food and we shared food. And sort of like you should the looks of the students' faces being in that space and changing the way how we can learn in an academic space really opened their eyes. And so for those 4 hours we discussed the readings, we debated about the readings, we sang songs together, we created poetry within that class. So it was a special time because it made it even more special because our professor Dr. Kabutaulaka enabled us to activate that space. And so that's what I love about Pacific Studies is they enable us to bring ourselves into the space however we want it. And so when I had that opportunity to, change the way we learn just for that class, it really inspired all the students in that class. Bruce, shout out to my friends in that class, Bruce Kami Watson, Kenji Cataldo, Randija Crisostomo. It was an amazing time for the students, and I'll never forget moments like that. I feel, we should change spaces like that. Education of how we Pacific Islanders learn within those spaces, it helps a lot. It doesn't only have to be a whiteboard or a tablet board and the seats, and then it's a professor and us. It's a collaboration of everyone being together in that space. So our professor was learning from us, we were learning from him, we were discussing the readings together, and it just flew.
Totoo ka saranga. When you were sharing that, the laying of the mat and bringing, wow, that must have been such a transformational moment, yeah?
Yes,
For many of the
indeed.
students.
Indeed it was. Indeed it was. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
That's a huge takeaway. I think for our listeners, if you're a school teacher, this can be something you can apply in your classroom to change the way of learning, make the children enjoy the moment. Those moments will be stuck with them forever.
And they'll
and
be more
bringing
interested
music,
to learn.
yeah, and bringing music and food into it too.
Yeah, that was the bonus.
Man, Totoka Saraka, I just remembered when you were sharing that experience, JJ, when I was teaching at the University of Auckland, I
Mm.
remember we had a topic on Pacific navigation. And I was
Mm.
known there for, for taking students on field trips. Everything we
There
talk
you
about,
go.
I take them to the Auckland Art Gallery, I take them to the Auckland Museum, and then I knew that there was the Maritime Museum down at the Viaduct. And
Mm.
so I went and spoke to my HOD at that time. It was Professor Damon Salesa. And,
Mm.
of course, in universities, there are rules and guidelines that has to be followed, right? With
Mm-hmm.
OHS, people, students have to sign their, consent form and all of those things. And for
Yeah.
me, I'm really good in going around the rules. When the rule is like this, doctor, please go around. So, so instead of hiring the vans and the buses, which will take a long time, I just said to the students, let's walk.
There you go.
Let's walk down. So we walked down from Auckland University down to the viaduct. I
Mm-hmm.
organized the visit to the museum. And guess what, JJ? We went on the boat. There was a canoe, a boat
Wow.
on the Auckland Harbor. So the
Yeah.
students went on this nice boat ride all the way to the Auckland Harbor Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, JJ, most of the students were New Zealand-born Pacific Islanders, eh? And
Mm.
many of them, they live down in, Otahuhu, Papatoetoe,
Mm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
south side. And when we were on the boat, they were pointing, they were like, "Hey, that's where our school is, or where we live." And
Yeah.
then I,
Yeah.
I went around to all of them and I said, has anybody been to this museum? Has anybody been on this boat? And they said they've never, ever been. And for me, I never forgot that moment, that I was able to facilitate that moment to get the students away from the classroom. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of learning about navigation on that whiteboard, we
Mm-hmm.
actually come into a place and actually be on the boat, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and listen to an expert navigator talk
Yep.
to us about navigation. Isn't that amazing?
Moments like that they'll never forget, Dr. Tan.
So man, vinaka. And I know Dr. Mrs. Tara must be drinking kava right now, kantavu kava somewhere. Bulunaka, Dr. Tara, if you're gonna
Double of
listen to
Dr. Tara.
you're going to listen to this Talanoa session, we want to acknowledge you, Professor Tara, for being such an amazing professor to
Mm-hmm.
our students at UH Manoa, and not
Mm-hmm.
forgetting Professor Wilsoni Hereniko, and
Mm-hmm.
all the other amazing professors
Yes.
at CIPAS, Alexander Moya,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
also the gang at East West Centers. So amazing.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't
Wow.
forget them.
Now I know your brother Skills is there, and I think wait, is he close by?
He's right here. Yes, he's right here.
So this is unplanned. I would like to call him in to see if he can join you.
Yes. Come and join me. Hello.
Bula 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 Skills. I just want to bring you. You can hear me?
Come and join. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, set. Yeah, because I know both of you, you
Mm.
often work as a team, I've seen you both perform together, as brothers, and as artists, and yeah, I just want to acknowledge you as well, Skills, for the amazing stories that JJ has just shared. As we all know in the Pacific, it takes a village to raise a child. And of
Yep.
course, you've always been there with JJ. Maybe if you can just say something that you remembered about that brother of yours sitting right there, and the achievement that he just got at the University of Hawaii Manoa. I think it's your sound. You can hear me, but I can't hear your voice.
Oh, can you?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's so many stories that
It's cutting off a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
Hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, I was saying that there's so many stories that I can tell about John, the unedited version ones. Probably be able to write 5, 6 books. But yeah, I just want to say that I'm just very proud of this young gentleman here. Growing up with him, oh yeah, we've had both our ups and downs, but it was always full of love, and it turned out to be aloha at the end. And yeah, just seeing him walk and get his graduation certificate. Oh man, if Dad was here, I always keep telling him he would have been very proud of him. I know Mom was super proud, and for me, I'm so lucky to be his big brother and to watch him walk down to get his graduation certificate. Oh, words can't, like how they say, oh, words, there's no words you can put together to really express how I feel. It's just full of love, full of hanisi, full of aloha. Yeah.
Vinaka Vakalevu. And I also wanted to maybe ask you just your involvement with Rako, and
Yeah.
how both of you, did you both plan to be part of Rako, or did you start first and then JJ joined you?
Oh, yeah. I started first in Rako. I think it was, oh, I lost count of the year. But yeah, I joined Rako initially as a fire dancer, and then did hip hop, and then moved on to contemporary, and then moved on to Pacific Island dancing, and then John joined later on. In oh yeah, I'm very bad with the years. It's been a very long time. Yeah, but I'm very very thankful for learning what I've learned and just soaking up all of the teachings from all of the different people we've met along the way on our journey as Rotuman musicians.
In Sarangai is what JJ was saying, putting Rotuma on the map. Each of you contributed in your own way.
Oh yes, 100%, 100%. And it's so good to see all of the videos and posts. And man, it all lined up. He graduated, and then the week right after, Rotuman Language Week, and then just seeing all the posts from all over the world, all the different Rotuma Day celebrations, and then we got to have one over here and have a bit of. I thought we were gonna run away from the fike and all of this, but we found it here in Hawaii too. There's fike like around here that you can get easily.
And I know the Rotuman community, there in Oahu must be so happy to have you both around.
Oh, so happy.
So wow. So again,
For you, Gordon.
yeah. It's just wonderful to see both of you, excel, in your own way. And even I always remember that song, you both sang in Hilo. It was a song that I think was it Skills you wrote, and and it was just written, and the sound, and I just saw the faces of the students in Hilo that day. I think most of them didn't want to go to class. They
That
just want to
sounds
hang
about
out.
right. I still have the videos and the footage. It was quite full.
Yeah, it was.
dancing. It was too fun.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
we actually took some of your moves. We actually used some of your moves in the other places we've been to the last couple of months, and every time people ask, "Oh yeah, you only learn that when you go to Hawaii to Big Island."
That's some of the Dr. T move, Dr. T move.
Gory. Oh, that's the cure for anything.
Dear Saraka, if you're stressed out, just do your dance. It's just
Oh,
that's the answer.
100%.
Stress.
Iyo.
Yes, man, no, Vinakamakalevu, I just wanted to, yeah, just to acknowledge both of you and sorry, Skills, I put you on the spot there. But I thought
Oh,
that,
not a problem.
both of you are, always working together, and it's so beautiful to see both of you, supporting each other, and particularly for JJ, with his studies. Vinakamakalevu Skills.
Isa fafayak sa dakti. Iyo.
Naka.
Nagtatarisi. You know, and also shout out to the community here, like my brother here, brother Light, like Sia Savuli.
Nice, Bula.
Got brother Joeli over here.
Sabula Vinaka. Thank
We
you.
have
Thank you for the
our small
support.
community over here.
Sa
And
Vinaka.
our sister Ulamila Vanginavanoa is here with us too.
Oh, Vinakulamila, thank you for the support. Yeah, one now. Yes, so I better let you go, JJ, and
Thank you.
I'll give you the time to maybe say a few words and acknowledge, those who have supported you along the way. And I know you've achieved so much, in your young life, and what a wonderful example you've set, for many, young young people and especially young Rotumans, listening
Thank
right
you.
now. So I'll give you the
Rexia.
time right now, JJ.
I mean, simple. Just be proud of who you are. Keep your values that you learned, humility, respect, reciprocity, mutual consensus and love for one another. And, apply that in all the spaces that you're engaged in, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in education or in academia, you know, keep that same love for who you are and the love for work. And I think you'll prosper properly. And to acknowledge those who love you and support you all the way, because without their support as a Pacific Islander, it's a very lonely world, and it can be very lonely. But with the support of friends, families, the community behind you, it just makes you even more, more proud and more eager to continue on the track you're in and to just make the world a better place
Yes.
for you, for yourself and for the future. Shout out to our sister Ulamila Vanginavanoa.
Wala bila. Wala na support. Kataw in the house.
Kandavo in the house.
Vinaka Makalew. Yes, thank you so
Naka.
much, JJ. All the
Yeah.
very best. And yeah, definitely I'll see you in Hawaii.
Yes.
And
Looking forward.
acknowledging all the support for the festival coming up.
Donu. San Donu Vinaka. And don't forget to read your Bible and say your prayers every day.
Naka. Kalau misalnya bikin
Naka.
daw, what
Lolo
mati JJ?
Miami. Naka. Rexia. Happy Rotuma
Asia.
Language Week.
Naka. Wale. Yes, totoo ako tinabi Talanoa pati kay John Taukave and kilicho nga na JJ to siya machuk may punch bowl and yan yung totoo ko Oahu and City Levu o Honolulu. The family binakabi JJ na no na may positive ko ni Kua is our last guest for the Rotuma Language Week lineup, and we're so proud of him that he just graduated with his master's in Pacific Studies at the Center for Pacific Studies at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. So Vinakavakalevu JJ for being a wonderful role model. And we also have the opportunity to talk to the brother, older brother Skills. Vinakavalevu to you Skills for such an amazing support that you've given to JJ all these years. And I'm sure your mom, your beautiful mom, is listening as well. Vinakavakalevu to you, Mrs. Taukave, for such a beautiful role as a mother. You have nurtured these two young men who have impacted a lot of families, a lot of people, not only in Rotuma, not only in Vatuanga, not only in Fiji, but all over the world, and especially through their music and their dance. So, for those of you who are logging in from Hawaii, also here in the US, if you want to see them perform, I'm sure you'd like to see them in Hawaii during the coming Pacific Festival of Arts. The festival is starting on the 6th of June to the 16th. So if anyone is willing to travel across to Honolulu, that'll be the best time to be there, because I think there will be 26 nations. I'm sure it's 26 nations and their representatives and the artists that will be in Honolulu for those 10 days. So Vinakavaka for your support for this week, for the Rotuman Language Week, and also acknowledging the Girmit anniversary as well that took place earlier this week. And then I think it's a Ratsukuna Day coming up for the 30th of May. So lots of activities during the month of May in Abulindoi, and we really want to acknowledge all the guests that we've invited to come on this platform. It's Sunday here. It's 12:22 in the morning, but it's been a joy to talk to JJ joining in from the beautiful city of Honolulu. Bidding goodbye now, Vinaka Levu, to everybody listening in. Bulavinaka to Elizabeth Alferetti, Mary Fiu, Nem Saukuru, Davina Wipi, Chochimbola, Lorraine Mode, is Vinaka Levu, Maggie Twingeli. Thank you so much. And the Dhavu family and the Dhama family as well, the Kulinindilo family, Wangamate, and the Taukave family. Lots of the Taukave family listening in. Thank you so much again for your wonderful support. Don't forget to subscribe on the Talanoa with Dr. T YouTube channel. You'll see all close to 1,000 videos that we've already uploaded, and we're only 4 years old, and we're so proud that we can be able to represent Fiji and Rotuma. And in the coming week, we might invite guests from Rambi and Kioa. Okay. Nakavalev Sara, Bernie Bulibo, thank you for joining in. Temele Simbola, Oni Betty, and Gypsy I. Salalaman Valley. Take care, everyone. Be safe, and I'll see you in my next Talanoa session. Mwata Kumanda. Poexia.